going here. There we go. So today we're going to chat markup, markdown, and percent error. And in some cases, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, now wait a minute. That almost seems like it's the exact same thing, but there's a couple of subtle differences on some of these that we're going to want to be aware of. So, let me get that out of there. So, okay, mark up, mark down. This, if we have a mark up, it's the amount of increase from the cost of an item to its selling price. So, when we speak of that, probably more in a business term, sometimes you'll hear the term mark up, but when we talk about it as the percent increase, we talk about it as a percent markup. So, for instance, let's say, okay, I'm Best Buy and I'm out purchasing, I'm going to have some speakers that I'm going to purchase from the manufacturer that I want to turn around and sell. So if the manufacturer charges me $100, there's going to be an amount or a percentage that I typically mark it up myself so I can make a profit. So maybe my markup's 100%, maybe it's $50. It depends. So we can do it as a quantity or a percent here. So when we're doing markup, that is going to be the percentage of the markup times the original amount. So, for instance, and markdown will work the same way that we're doing this. So if I had, for instance, a 75% markup on a $200 speaker. Okay, because I got to make sure I make my money when I'm in business to be able to pay for my rent, to be able to pay my employees and insurance and all that other stuff. And so all I'm going to have to do here to figure out my markup in this instance is I would take 200 times my markup percentage, again, is a decimal. We've got to make that adjustment. Let me get out of the graphing portion here. Probably be good if I go up a little higher here. There we go. So my markup would be $150. But then if I wanted to know, let's say, so what am I going to sell it for? I'd sell it for $350. Because I take in what I paid for it plus my markup. So when we're doing these, it's going to be important to see, what are you being asked for? Are you just being asked what the markup is? Are you being asked what the final selling price is going to be? We can even figure out at some point, if I was given, and we'll do one of those too. Let's say I had a $40 markup on a, what would be $100? $100 coat. I'm sitting here going, what's actually not like thousands of dollars anymore. So And I wanted you to tell me what the percent markup was. So I'd look and I'd say, well, let's see. The coat cost me 100. The markup is 40. So I'd say, okay. I'd be selling it for 140. I'm not making all of that, though. So here, the markup is a percent increase. Now, here's the question. Because sometimes I get talking and saying too much right away, and I don't make you think at all. So if I was trying to find what percent of a markup that was, the coat was 100, now it's 140. Would I do 100 divided by 140? Would I do 40 divided by 140? Would I do 40 divided by 100? What do you think? Like, Hardy, you actually might have a stymied here. So I'm going to take my markup. Let's think this through for a minute. So is my percent based on the coat or my price? It's going to be based on my price in this case. So and we'll go to the nearest whole percent here. Now, am I going to be asked for markup very often on a percent basis? Probably not. This is more of what we would do most of the time, but I always like you to be aware. So if the price is going up, it's a markup. You're like, ooh, shocker here. If the price is going to go down, kind of more like a sale. So we're going to decrease the price from the original to its sale price. And so if I wanted the percent, again, the original price is the percent. Oh, dear. I get so in on seeing what things, I got to make sure, thank you. The mathematics, again, the only difference here between markup and markdown, I still would need to have the percentage. But if it's marked down, we're going to subtract instead. So like, if I said there was a 75% marked down, a 75% sale on a $200 speaker, we'd still multiply like we did here, but we'd minus the $150. And now the speaker's on clearance for $50. So that's what I have to keep an eye out for on mark up versus mark down. It's just going to be, instead of adding like I do on these, I'm going to be subtracting. Is going to be the only difference. And when we get to the practice, I'll chat about that. Simple interest we have chatted about before. I'm going to leave that be, because I want to make sure we get to the percentage of error so we can kind of make sure we've got this down. So this is useful for determining the precision or the accuracy of our calculations. And basically, we're going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to write it this way too. The math is exactly the same as a percentage change. It's just now kind of you putting a negative connotation on it instead of saying, you know, here's the difference or the change. Well, this is how I screwed up because I thought it was going to be this, and it was this instead. And so I'm going to kind of let you see this one first. We're going to work backwards on the practice for today. So we're going to go fast forward here for a moment. We're going to fast forward to page 5. And so, for instance, when we get here, Jessie estimates the weight of her cat to be 10 pounds. If the actual weight of the cat is 13.75 pounds, find the percent error. Okay, 2 steps just like the percent ones we did yesterday. Take our time, make sure these go well today. We're going to subtract the 2 numbers, bigger minus smaller. Okay, so there's the difference between what is and what we thought was. Once you have that value, and I'm going to look at one thing quick, make sure I am not doing silly stuff like I did yesterday. Okay. We're going to take that difference, and we're going to take our estimation, and we're going to divide by that, okay? So again, this is always going to be what we're guessing, what the estimation is going to be. And we'll punch that in. So I get the decimal, the 0.375. But again, I want the percent. So that actually is quite a large error that was made here with my percentage. But it stays in that order. Okay? Larger minus smaller, because we don't want to get negative numbers. But then that difference is always estimates, estimates, estimates. That's the number you're wanting to divide by to find your error within that. Okay. But now I'm going to work backwards. So backwards one. A 4 here. I guess not backwards one. It's a flip more than anything. Okay. One thing with these. I'm not going to go crazy on a Friday saying, hey, hammer 20 of these out, 7 of these. That's a little crazy. So, markup and mark down discount. Now, again, you've got to pay attention to the words that are in front because that's going to determine whether you're adding it in or taking it away. The first half here in 1 through 10 territory is all markups. I'm not going to be nice and do an even. I'm going to do an odd. So again, I see cost of a cell phone, $249.50. Markup, 30%. Okay. So $249.50 times my markup. And again, when we're talking about money, if it just goes to cents like this, use the cents. Don't go to like 75. If it was going to a lot of decimals, we'd go to 2. Okay? So that's the markup, but that's not the question. The question is find the selling price, which means now I need to take what the business paid for it and add the markup. And what this is heading for, as we keep moving through this unit and into the next, is we'll start bringing in sales tax, discounts now when you get into the markup and things. All these different percentages playing at play all the time. So we're just taking baby steps to kind of get there. So mark up, we add. Mark down, otherwise known as discount, or a sale. Oh, I want a different percentage. We're going to do 13. Original price of a radio, $9.50. When is this? Times my discount. Okay, good situation here for us to discuss. I only want to go to cents, which is 2 decimal places. So that extra 5 means I can round up a penny to 276. If you'd put 275 instead, I'm not going to yell, but normally if that last number's a 5, we can round up. And so now, I take the cost of my radio minus, because it's a discount, we're set there. I've got one quick story here in a minute.